The scene opens on a harsh and unforgiving winter day, where two men stand shirtless, their heavily muscled bodies adorned with the scars of past battles. Despite the biting cold, they show no sign of discomfort, gripping AK-47 assault rifles with a practiced ease. These men are part of the brutal Russian mercenary group known as Barefoot, infamous for their grueling initiation rites. The landscape around them is barren, a vast expanse of the Siberian snowfields, where survival is a test of willpower and raw strength. The initiation ceremony for new recruits is as brutal as it is symbolic. To prove their worth, the initiates must venture into the icy wilderness barefoot, armed with nothing but their wits and their weapons. Their task is to track and hunt down a bear, an apex predator of the tundra, and return only when the beast is slain. Failure is not an option. It's a death sentence in the unforgiving cold. We witness one such initiation in progress. The men move through the snow with a predatory grace, their breath visible in the frigid air. The silence of the wilderness is shattered by the roar of a bear, its bloodied maw bared in a menacing snarl. The beast, a massive, ferocious creature, has already claimed its toll on the hunters. Dmitri, one of the initiates, bears the evidence of their deadly encounter. Several deep wounds mar his torso, yet he presses on with an almost primal determination. As the battle reaches its climax, Dmitri finally emerges victorious. With a triumphant roar, he lifts the bear's severed head high above his own, his fist outstretched in a display of dominance and raw power. His smile is as savage as the act itself, a devious grin that reflects the brutal nature of the world he inhabits. It's in this moment that the origin of his nickname becomes clear. This is where Dmitri earned the name Barefoot, a moniker that speaks to his resilience, ferocity, and unyielding spirit in the face of nature's deadliest challenges. The initiation is more than just a rite of passage. It's a crucible that forges men like Dmitri into living weapons. The snow beneath his feet, stained with the bear's blood, is a testament to his survival, a symbol of his place within the mercenary ranks. In this world, the scars on his body are not just marks of past battles. They are badges of honor, proof that he has faced death and emerged victorious, barefoot and unbroken. Dmitri licks his lips with a mocking grin, scoffing at Sion as he asks if that pathetic attempt was supposed to be a punch. Sion, momentarily stunned, tries to process how his strike, which had landed cleanly, did nothing to faze the imposing figure before him. His thoughts are abruptly cut off as Dmitri's fist slams into his left cheek with brutal force, sending him flying through the air. Sion crashes through a sliding door with a heavy impact, the force of the blow leaving him disoriented. Dmitri, relishing in the power he just demonstrated, taunts Sion further, wiping his chin casually as he dismisses the punch, comparing it to the feeble swipe of a bear's tail. He rises to his feet, intending to finish the job. But as he reaches for his gun, he notices something is off. The slide is missing. A flash of realization crosses his mind as he recalls the moment he struck Sion. In that fraction of a second, Sion had skillfully and swiftly disabled the gun, prioritizing neutralizing the threat over defending himself. This display of speed and precision leaves Dmitri certain of one thing. Sion must be from Dead Mansion, a notorious group known for its deadly operatives. As Dmitri begins to walk towards Sion's position, who has taken cover, he laughs with genuine amusement. The situation is getting interesting, and Dmitri, always eager for a challenge, urges Sion to face him head-on. Meanwhile, Sion, crouched behind cover, assesses the situation. The difference in physical strength between him and Dmitri is staggering, and the damage from the earlier punch is evident. His face is severely bruised, and blood trickles from his mouth and split lips. Despite his skill, Sion knows he's at a significant disadvantage. Dmitri, now holding another pistol, taunts Sion once more, aiming it at his hiding place. Just as he's about to pull the trigger, Dmitri catches a flicker of movement out of the corner of his eye. He ducks instinctively as Rachel fires her pistol, her bullet smashing into Dmitri's gun, shattering it. Dmitri, still grinning with a twisted confidence, chuckles that the shot was close and he almost got hit. Rachel, her eyes cold and deadly, responds with a challenge of her own, daring Dmitri to show his face so she can put 3 bullets through his head. Dmitri, unfazed and with an unsettling calm, begins to move stealthily around the room as Rachel continues to fire. His voice, now tinged with an uncharacteristic seriousness, warns Rachel that she isn't facing just one opponent. As if on cue, a bullet zips past Rachel's head, narrowly missing her but cutting through her hair. She turns to see several burly henchmen entering the room, their suits stretched over bulletproof vests, their eyes locked on her with deadly intent. The stakes have just risen, and Rachel finds herself surrounded, the odds shifting dangerously in Dmitri's favor. As the henchmen prepare to fire again, Rachel dashes into a nearby classroom, where she finds Marie hiding behind a table. Concerned for her safety, Rachel asks if she's all right. Marie, still shaken but trying to maintain her composure, responds evasively, downplaying her fear. Rachel, sensing something more, demands to know what Marie is really talking about. Trembling, Marie admits that, for a brief moment, she checked the surveillance feed and saw another assailant. The scene shifts to reveal the slender man who had previously been speaking to Dmitri in the CCTV room. Now, he stands on a balcony overlooking the school pool, casually waving at Eugene with a smile that doesn't reach his eyes. The man asks if Eugene is from Dead Mansion, inviting him to play in a tone that is both mocking and menacing. Eugene, sensing the danger, reaches behind his back, readying himself for a confrontation. The slender man, still smiling with an unsettling calm, unzips a long shoulder bag, his seemingly casual demeanor hiding a deadly intent. Back in the classroom, Rachel quickly helps Marie to her feet, intending to escort her to safety. Just as they start to move, Dmitri appears in the doorway, the henchman Rachel had evaded now blocking their exit. Assessing the dire situation, Rachel tenses, realizing how cornered they are. But then, Sion emerges behind Dmitri, visibly injured and hunched over but determined. He urges Rachel to go to Eugene, pointing out that if another mercenary is involved, Eugene could be in serious danger. Sion assures Rachel that he'll handle Dmitri, though Dmitri finds this notion highly amusing and turns to face Sion with a sinister grin. Sion, undeterred by the pain from his earlier injuries, readies himself, anger burning in his eyes. He's determined to repay Dmitri for the damage he's inflicted. Rachel, desperate to warn Sion, shouts that Dmitri is not someone to be underestimated. But before she can finish, a stray bullet whizzes past her shoulder, missing her by inches. She turns to see the henchman, one of whom fired the shot, but she reacts swiftly. With a burst of precision shots, Rachel unleashes her submachine gun, tearing through the ranks of the henchmen. Blood splatters and bullet holes appear across their limbs as many of them fall back, too injured to mount any real resistance against her. Despite Rachel's warning, Sion remains resolute. He tells her once again to take Marie to safety, vowing to finish his fight with Dmitri quickly. Dmitri steps closer, his smile widening with dark confidence. Sion meets his gaze with an equally fierce expression, reminding Dmitri and Rachel that he is the legend of the Dead Mansion. His words carry the weight of his reputation, and Rachel, recognizing the depth of Sion's resolve, finally relents. She agrees to take Marie to safety and then find Eugene. Before leaving, she tells Sion to smash Dmitri to pieces, her voice filled with a mix of concern and faith in his abilities. With Marie in tow, Rachel moves out, her aim unerring as she fires at the remaining henchmen, each shot finding its mark with lethal precision. Dmitri, incensed by Rachel's sudden departure, turns and shouts after her, demanding to know where she is going and why she is leaving Sion alone to face him. Meanwhile, Sion, crouched and ready, prepares to strike. Before Dmitri can fully comprehend the situation, Sion launches himself forward, delivering a powerful punch directly to Dmitri's face, transferring the full force of his body into the blow. Dmitri, caught off guard, barely has time to react. He quickly clenches his fist and retaliates with a straight right punch aimed at Sion. Sion narrowly evades the brunt of the strike by shifting to his left. The sheer force behind Dimitri's punch causes his muscles to bulge with power. Dimitri glares at Sion, coldly warning him not to interrupt, claiming he was talking to Rachel. Sion, meanwhile, feels the painful aftermath of his block, his arm throbbing as it struggles to absorb the impact. As Sion reels from the heavy blow, Dimitri seizes the opportunity to launch another devastating punch. This time, the impact is so strong that it lifts Sion off his feet and sends him tumbling several feet back. Sion crashes to the ground, momentarily stunned, and as he props himself up into a seated position, he examines his left arm, which is now in sharp pain and bleeding. He realizes with horror that Dimitri had used the sharp, disassembled barrel of the earlier gun to enhance the damage of his punch, drawing blood and causing additional harm. Clutching his bleeding arm to stem the pain, Sion rises to his feet, calling Dimitri petty for such a strike. Dimitri, with a dismissive tone, attempts to argue that it was merely a tactical move, but Sion rejects this, accusing Dimitri of foul play, claiming that no honorable fighter would resort to such tactics. He further provokes Dimitri by suggesting that this underhanded behavior is probably why Rachel doesn't associate with him. Dimitri, realizing the provocation, chuckles darkly, acknowledging Sion's ability to get under his skin. However, his amusement quickly turns to anger as he warns Sion that such provocations will have dire consequences. Sion, undeterred, continues to insult Dimitri, reiterating his claim that Dimitri fought dirty, all the while subtly grabbing 2 pens from a nearby desk. He continues stalling, asking if it was his comments about Rachel that truly enraged Dimitri. Dimitri, now visibly furious, bares his teeth in a sinister smile and charges at Sion with surprising speed for someone of his muscular build. He throws a left straight punch, which Sion attempts to block with both arms. Despite his efforts, the force behind Dimitri's punch is overwhelming, sending Sion stumbling backward once more. As Dimitri recovers from his strike, he feels a sharp pain in his left arm. Looking down, he sees the 2 pens that Sion had picked up earlier, now stabbed into his arm. Dimitri yanks the pens out, chastising himself for his carelessness and underestimating Sion. Sion, now realizing that his provocation may have been a mistake, watches as Dimitri, faster and more furious than before, reaches behind him for his jacket. Dimitri hurls the jacket at the charging Sion, who uses the momentary distraction to disappear. A creaking door betrays Sion's escape route, and Dimitri, licking his lips in anticipation, relishes the thrill of the hunt and the struggle that Sion is putting up. Dimitri's enjoyment of the chase is palpable, his mind already plotting the next move as he prepares to pursue Sion, eager to finish what they've started. Sion takes refuge behind a table, clutching his stinging, bleeding arm, and reflects on how Dimitri is just as formidable as Rachel had warned. His pain momentarily subsides as he catches a glimpse of his reflection in the window in front of him. Seeing his own face, he questions why someone with Dimitri's skill has come to the school, and a harsh realization dawns on him. The shock and guilt transform his expression as he recalls Rachel's earlier words, accusing him of being the reason behind the chaos that has upended Hyunho and his mother's lives. In just a few days, they have become prime targets for the dead mansion solely because of their association with him. As he contemplates the lives of Hyunho and his mother, Sion envisions himself walking away, leaving behind a trail of deep crimson blood, symbolizing the destruction that follows him and taints the lives of innocent people. Rachel's cruel smile haunts his thoughts as she confronts him with the brutal reality of the consequences of his actions. The weight of his decisions presses down on Sion, causing his head to drop as the burden of his guilt becomes nearly unbearable. Yet, instead of succumbing to despair, Sion reaffirms his resolve. His hand balls into a fist, and a steely glint of determination shines in his eyes. His thoughts are interrupted by Dimitri, who kicks the door with such force that it flies off its hinges. Dimitri enters the room, laughing maniacally and declaring that the break is over, eager to enjoy the second half of their fight. Sion responds with cold confidence, his voice slicing through Dimitri's taunts. wiping the smirk from Dimitri's face. Dimitri's expression falters as Sion's tone reveals a newfound intensity. Sion, his back to Dimitri, begins tearing his shirt into strips. He takes full responsibility for the danger that has befallen Hyunho and his mother due to his actions. With resolve, he tightly wraps the strips around his wounded left arm, dulling the pain enough to focus entirely on the fight. As he finishes, Sion turns to face Dimitri, tearing off the remaining pieces of his shirt, hardening his resolve to push through the pain without complaint. Dimitri instinctively senses a shift in Sion's demeanor, and he unconsciously adopts a more prepared stance, realizing that this focused Sion is not to be underestimated. Dimitri reaches for something strapped to his back and, in a fluid motion, lunges at Sion with a knife in hand, aiming to end the fight in a single blow. But Sion, now fully alert, expertly sidesteps the attack and grabs Dimitri's knife-wielding arm with his left hand. In a split second, Sion delivers a crushing blow to Dimitri's extended elbow. The room echoes with a loud crack, akin to cannon fire, as Dimitri looks down at his now broken and useless arm. Confusion and concern flash across Dimitri's face. He can't comprehend how Sion moved so quickly to counter him. Without giving Dimitri a moment to recover, Sion launches himself off Dimitri's leg and delivers a powerful knee strike to Dimitri's face. Sion's expression is mocking and cruel, his muscles taut and defined as he revels in the upper hand he's gained. Dimitri skids to a halt, but manages to stay on his feet. Blood gushes from his nose, and with gritted teeth, he acknowledges his underestimation of Sion. Tilting his head back, he asks if he heard correctly that his foe's name is Sion. Standing upright, Dimitri licks the blood from his nose, and with an evil smile, declares that the fight has been worth the wait. Sion, unapologetic, stares coldly at Dimitri, his expression devoid of emotion as he prepares to retaliate, his body tensed and ready for the next exchange.